say how I feel, cause I know that it's something real. Gonna say how I feel, cause I know that it's something real. Hey, hey. Gonna say how I feel, cause I know that it's something real.
Hey everybody, hi. Deirdre, I'm glad you didn't miss it either. Welcome you guys. What a day. What a day. So let's check my volume first off. It looks like it's not peaking and you can hear me, hopefully. I'm using a lavalier mic tonight. So everything should be good and the output sound should be okay. Yeah, hopefully. All right. Well, you know, it's been a day. I started out the day, I watched Donna M. do a pour this morning, watched the Massey Boys, and then I decided a good plan was, because I got a new monitor for in here, that I should set it up a little more complicated. And just let's say this area in front of me is fairly neat. The rest of the room, it looks like my 5 grandkids were locked in here for 5 hours in this tiny little room. It's a disaster. So cheers to everybody. I'm going for the Baileys. Let's say hi. So Deirdre's here. And Janice, hi. Janice, I was watching you on doing some stuff. And Angie's here. Oh my goodness. And yay. Helen is here. Hi Helen, how are you? Did you have fog for you today? We were pretty fogged in. I just got a message from my neighbor and I didn't see it all day. I think I had my phone on. You ever put your phone on Do Not Disturb and then forget you have it on there and then open it up and there's 33 messages? Oops. Oh well. But apparently this morning my neighbor texted and said that they had watched a coyote walk up the hill and turn into our driveway and walk through our driveway and then cut across the rocks and go up into the open, there's an open lot, a field between our house and the other house, go there and back into the woods. So they were warning me to make sure that Aldo didn't go outside too far and get caught up in all that craziness. But it explains why Aldo has been sniffing away at certain areas down on the corner when we take him for a walk. He's just obsessed with scratching it around, like telling this coyote who's boss. So Helen's here. Yay. And oh, good. And Joanne's here. Hi, Joanne. Nice to have you here. Boy, what a day. Oh, I was there. There's so many wires I have with my computers and I got the new computer, but I'm still doing this show off the old one because all the profiles didn't transfer and I did something wrong. And then it's just my husband, bless his heart, he came down and he would help me. He was holding things and setting things and moving the heavy things and stuff like that. And every once in a while I decided I had to get down and kneel on the other knee and put things in, and he very tolerant and would help me out and tell me encouragement. But he's he's very left brain and I'm very right brain. And so he started talking about wiring first thing when I was even still like cleaning off the desk of where to put stuff. And it, you know, you can always tell when I'm stressed because my face will start to itch. And I was like, oh, okay, no wiring right now. Not yet. Oh, but we worked it out. That's what being together for as long as we've been together. What is it? I always lose count. We were married in 1977, whatever that is. 44 years, 45, 40 something or other. Yeah, a long time. So, gosh, it's good to see everybody. It's hard to say how I feel. Yep. I love that song, that ooh la la. It just, I can play that. It's and the fact that it has and keeping it real, of telling it it's real, and that's the name of the show, keeping it real. So it has been. I'm glad I sound great. Thank you, Angie, and everybody's saying hi, Gloria. Gloria's here. Oh my gosh, saying hi to everybody. And I watched a friend of mine do a Canva training on making things look 3D, but she was very excited, and it was good, but she was very excited, and I was trying to do 3 things at once. So as a result, when I went upstairs for dinner, Bob had made deconstructed hamburgers. He said, how about you just sit down, I'll pour you a Krabby, we'll put ice on your knee, and you have dinner, and you don't go downstairs because you're ready. And I said, oh, okay. So that's where I've been. Oh my gosh. Cheers to everybody. Lots of fog and bird. Yeah, and it's supposed to get colder, Helen. We're supposed to have some cold influx of air coming in. So, yep, wonderful neighbors. I live in it's just a really wonderful community, and Gloria, your live was today? Did I miss it again? Oh, bam, bam, bam. I thought see, I'm a day off. Oh, man. Oh, well. I'll get it. I will get it one of these days. I will. All right. Great. Oh, yes, I bet she did have wonderful readings tonight. I bet you did. Yeah, I just had a feeling you would be an amazing reader. All right, folks. Tonight, I hope you have your sketch pads handy, because after the story, we're going to do a little bit of right brain, another right brain exercise, completely different, but it's going to be kind of fun. Tonight's story, though, is called Two Bad Ants, and it's right here. It's another story by Chris Van Allsburg, who did Jumanji that I read last night, and he did The Polar Express. And this one, it's just funny. It's just so all the kind of things that happen, and I just think it's a delightful one of his stories. It's in this one, the illustrations have some color, but still a lot of the line drawing. Two Bad Ants, Chris Van Allsburg. So you'll see that there's a lot of linear work in these, and a lot of design in that. Let me go down close on a picture here, if I can show you this. Unlock this scene, and then so I can zoom in on, not me, but on that. And you can see closely the detail work that he puts into the illustrations there. So the shadowing is pretty cool. So I think I'll move it like this so you don't have to see the words, but you see more of the picture. Oh, good. Gloria, the replay is up. I'd love to go watch that. Thank you. It's on Facebook Live? Is that right? Yeah. And could you put the name of your channel in the in the chat, Gloria, so that we don't miss it. I know you have Gloria's Gallery on Facebook, but the other one slips my mind right now. It pops up when I type your name in, but I can't remember right off the bat. 2 bad ants. So I'm ready to read. Take a sip. Be ready. I love this one. 2 bad ants. The news traveled swiftly through the tunnels of the ant world. A scout had returned with remarkable discovery, a beautiful, sparkling crystal. When the scout presented the crystal to the ant queen, she took a small bite, then quickly ate the entire thing. She deemed it the most delicious food she'd ever tasted. Nothing could make her happier than to have more, much more. The ants understood. They were eager to gather more crystals because the queen was the mother of them all. Her happiness made the whole ant nest a happier place. Come on. There we go. It was late in the day when they departed. Crinkly cover. Sorry. It was late in the day when they departed. Long shadows stretched over the entrance to the ant kingdom. One by one, the insects climbed out, following the scout who had made it clear that there were many crystals where the first had been found, but the journey was long and dangerous. They marched into the woods that surrounded their underground home. Dusk turned to twilight, twilight to night. The path they followed twisted and turned, every bend leading them deeper and deeper into the dark forest. Of course, ants would think that the grass was a dark forest. More than once, the line of ants stopped and anxiously listened for the sounds of hungry spiders. But all they heard was the call of crickets echoing through the woods like distant thunder. The dew formed on the leaves above. Without warning, huge drops, cold drops, fell on the marching ants. A firefly passed overhead that for an instant lit up the woods with a blinding flash of blue-green light. At the edge of the forest stood a mountain. The ants looked up and could not see its peak. It seemed to reach right to heaven, but they did not stop. Up the side they climbed, higher and higher. The wind whistled through the cracks of the mountain's face. The ants could feel its force bending their delicate antennae. Their legs grew weak as they struggled upward. At last, they reached a ledge and crawled through a narrow tunnel. Get this. You can see the line of ants coming in the window. When the ants came out of the tunnel, they found themselves in a strange world. Smells they had known all their lives, smells of dirt and grass and rotting plants, had vanished. There was no more wind, and most puzzling of all, it seemed that the sky was gone. They crossed smooth, shiny surfaces, then followed the scout up a glassy, curved wall. They had reached their goal. From the top of the wall, they looked down into a sea of crystals. One by one, the ants climbed down into the sparkling treasure. Quickly, they each chose a crystal, then turned to start the journey home. There was something about this unnatural place that made the ants nervous. In fact, they left in such a hurry that none of them noticed the 2 small ants who stayed behind. "Why go back?" one asked the other. "This place may not feel like home, but look at all those crystals." You're right,"
said the other. "We can stay here and eat this tasty treasure every day forever."
So the two ants ate crystal after crystal until they were too full to move and fell asleep. Daylight came. The sleeping ants were unaware of changes taking place in their newfound home. A giant silver scoop hovered above them, then plunged deep into the crystals. It shoveled up both ants and crystals and carried them high into the air. The ants were wide awake when the scoop turned, dropping them from a frightening height. They tumbled through space in a shower of crystals and fell into a boiling brown lake. Then the giant scoop stirred violently back and forth. Crushing waves fell over the ants. They paddled hard to keep their tiny heads above water, but the scoop kept spinning the hot brown liquid. Around and around it went, creating a whirlpool that sucked the ants deeper and deeper. They both held their breath and finally bobbed to the surface, gasping for air and spitting mouthfuls of the terrible, bitter water. Then the lake tilted and began to empty into a cave. The ants could hear the rushing water and felt themselves pulled toward the pitch black hole. Suddenly the cave disappeared and the lake became calm. The ants swam to the shore and found that the lake had steep sides. They hurried down the walls that held back the lake. The frightened insects looked for a place to hide, worried that the giant scoop might shovel them up again. Close by, they found a huge round disc with holes that they could neatly hide them. But as soon as they climbed inside, their hiding place was lifted, tilted, and lowered into a dark place. When the ants climbed out of the holes, they were surrounded by a strange red glow. It seemed to them that every second the temperature was rising. It soon became so unbearably hot that they thought that they would soon be cooked. But suddenly, the disc they were standing on rocketed upwards, and the two hot ants went flying through the air. They landed near what seemed to be a fountain. Oh, a waterfall pouring from a silver tube. Both ants had a powerful thirst and longed to dip their feverish heads into the refreshing water. They quickly climbed along the tube. As they got closer to the rushing water, the ants felt a cool spray. They tightly gripped the shiny surface of the fountain and slowly leaned their heads into the falling stream. But the force of the water was much too strong. The tiny ants were pulled off the fountain and plunged down into a wet, dark chamber. They landed on half-eaten fruit and other soggy things. Suddenly the air was filled with loud, frightening sounds, and the chamber began to spin. Right down here, let me show you real quick. Show you again. And this is the place that he put Fritz in the book here, in the garbage disposal. There's the dog on a piece of, like, was on a piece of paper or something around. Oh, what an odd place. Kids look forever to find that in that book. The ants were caught in a swirling... Oops, I dropped something. The ants were caught in a whirling storm of shredded food and stinging rain. Then, just as quickly as it had started, the noise and spinning stopped. Bruised and dizzy, the ants climbed out of the chamber. In daylight, once again, they raced through the puddles and up a smooth metal wall. In the distance, they saw something comforting. 2 long, narrow holes that reminded them of the warmth and safety of their old underground home. They climbed into the dark opening, but there was no safety inside these holes. A strange force passed through the wet ants. They were stunned senseless and blown out of the holes like bullets from a gun. When they landed, the tiny insects were too exhausted to go on. They crawled into a dark corner and fell fast asleep. Night had returned when the battered ants woke to a familiar sound. The footsteps of their fellow insects returning for more crystals. The 2 ants slipped quietly to the end of the line. They climbed the glassy wall and once again stood amid the treasure. But this time, they each chose a single crystal and followed their friends home. Standing at the edge of their ant hole, the 2 ants listened to the joyful sounds that came from below. They knew how grateful their mother queen would be when they gave her their crystal. At that moment, the 2 ants felt happier than they had ever felt before. This was their home. This was their family. This was where they were meant to be. And that's the story of the 2 bad ants. Are lost. There we go. I love it. Their antennas are all disheveled. I know. They're just like at the end. Good observation, Angie. Look at how crooked they are. They've had a rough night. Oh my gosh. I think is one of my favorite is when they get shot out of the electrical socket, because that always would talk to kids about. They would say, "Oh, I remember when I did that, and I got shocked like that." It's too funny. Awful. Yes, it's a great story. So, with that, I found a drawing activity that actually had ants. Oh, let me bring it in here. It's in this book called Illustrating Nature, Right Brain Art in a Left Brain World. And she has just a ton of fun things, but this one I thought went with this story. So you're going to need a piece of paper, and it says this exercise puts your right brain entirely in charge. During this exercise, do not lift your pencil from the paper. Follow instructions exactly. Read 1 through 5 before you begin, which I will do. So if you want to grab a piece of paper, I'm going to pull a song into this scene and then turn it down. While you find that, and I'll give you a minute. Shouldn't take too long. So I've got my sketch pad here. And I'm gonna... there we go. Perfect. So, in this, what you're going to need to do first, and it's a pretty easy little thing to do, down in the corner of each page, it has 2 little ants. So rather than try to figure out how to draw them, just do 3 little circles on top of each other. You can put legs on them if you want. And 1 on this side. So this one over here is if you're left-handed, this will be your, let me get a, if you are left-handed, you'll use this ant over here, And if you're right-handed, you'll use this ant over here. Okay? So if you've gotten your paper, hi Donna, nice to see you. That was a pretty piece you did this morning. It was really fun to see that. Your ants look like snowmen. Good. As long as they have a head. My husband, Bob saw you using the airbrush and he went like, she's using an airbrush. And when I was a makeup artist and I did custom cosmetics and made custom blend makeup, I would put it on with an airbrush when I did fashion shows and stuff like that. And he said, you should have kept yours. And I said, yeah, I know, I wish I had. So, but that was really cool. He thought it was very clever. I was watching it while he was making me breakfast. Yes, I'm a spoiled girl. Okay, directions first. It says to read 1 through 5 before you begin. So put your pencils down, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to place the point of our pencil on the head of the correct ant in the box below. So if you're right-handed, you're going to put your pencil on the head of the ant on the right-hander side over here. And if you're left-handed, left-handers will begin here. So then you're going to pose your other hand in a comfortable, relaxed position and fasten your eyes on it. Okay, you focus on your hand that's not got the pencil. You're going to put it someplace, I'll probably have mine over here, in a comfortable, relaxed position. You're going to imagine the ant slowly crawling around the outline of your hand. Now, if you don't like bugs, this might bug you, but just a little ant crawling around the outline of your hand, right around the edge. Don't take your eyes off the ant. Don't look at the paper. Ooh. Keep your pencil on the ant while it moves around the perimeter of your hand. So if your ant follows a crease of your hand inside the border of the outline, retrace your little ant steps back out to the edge and continue. This should take about 2 or 3 minutes. If you finish sooner, do the exercise again on a fresh sheet of paper. Do not look at your paper at any time. It's okay if your line goes outside the box. Now they have a box here that you could use, but I'm just using a piece of paper. Maybe there's meant to be a littler box, but I don't care. We'll do it this way. Take your time and let your right brain express itself. Do not hurry. Congratulations, you bypassed your left brain entirely and allowed your right brain to show what it can do. So they have this little box for you to do it in. I have my papers probably a little too big, but I'm going to move my ants in a little more. So cool. Oh, that's okay. So this one right here is my ant because I'm right-handed. Okay. And if you're left-handed, you have a left-handed ant. And you're going to start your ant, and you're going to put your pencil on the head of your ant. You're going to have your paper, your hand, sitting someplace to the side where you can just comfortably, and you're going to focus on your hand, not on your paper. Okay? You can't, you're holding your phone. Well, that would be a good thing. Put it on speaker. Anyway, you were, Angie, you were, I was a distributor with Market America, and I was a Motives custom cosmetic trainer for a while. And so, yeah, that was kind of a crazy fun thing to do. Janice is so funny. Okay, all right, so I'm going to assume that everybody's ready. I'm going to put on the music. Let's get it going here. I had it on mute. Let's get the music to play and play it. Can you guys hear the music? Yes, it should be playing. Yeah, so I'm just gonna put it on and get started and focus on my hand, and we'll go for a couple, 3 minutes. Let me put my timer on. It says 2 or 3 minutes it should take you. I don't want to. Okay, let's go for it. I'm going to focus on my hand, and I'm not going to look at the paper. I'm actually starting on the outside of my hand. Imagine that ant crawling, little tiny ant steps all the way around your hand. All right, that's 3 minutes. Okay, Donna, you're funny. Oh, what a mess. I'm done already. Well, you know, it's funny. It's maybe if it was, I would use small, but it's when they show like what the sample did in the book, that somebody had, they'd done their hand like this, and yeah. Oh, that's the brightness. So in the book, I'd done it kind of like that. You know, I didn't go back and put in any details, but you know, I think if you did this several times, I kind of like the idea of doing it and trying your hand in different shapes, and the idea of not focusing on the paper and what you're doing, and letting like the ant guide you, like it's crawling around there, that being the part of your paper. I just think it would be a fun activity and a fun and a great way to bypass your left brain and open up that type of thing, not as a complete aspect of what you're doing. Like if you saw Angie's new piece that she did, the roses. Oh, I have to, yeah. I don't know if I can show those. Where are they? Nope, I can't figure that out. But she sent them to me. I'll have to put them up and show them another night. And she did another upside down and drawing on the right side of the brain activity, and just really pretty. But I think just practicing this just gives us another tool to kind of shift our thinking and shift our ideas on what we look at. Kind of like in his books, I think one of the things that Chris does in his books, like if you look carefully like at the illustrations, you see in the toast, the texture within the toast and the shadow within the tile, how he did that. But the spoon and the water, the lines, that's all just line work. And the shadowing of it, it just gives a different kind of aspect. And the crystals, I love these, the way he did the crystals there. I think that's really cool. Gives good practice in shadow and shading and whatnot. So mine turned out pretty gruesome, but that's okay. I think it's fun. You know, you could come back and add things if you wanted to, or you could turn it into something else. For me, I would probably do this a few times and maybe turn them into some kind of a scene with like a cactus or something like that. I don't know, I'm looking at cactuses at night. Sometimes when I go out shooting at night and how different trees look and whatnot, and if it's misty or dark or something. Yours looks like a tree branch. So Sajee says hers looks like a tree branch. Gloria, Donna, we have a love-hate relationship with ants too. We have those little sugar ants that come in, and Bob just insists on trying to get rid of them himself. My daughter is just screaming, ready to have, just pay for somebody to come in. Oh my gosh. But, oh yeah. Well, Gloria says the second one was, well, you got 2 done in the time we got 1, girl. Slow down. But it's fun to try. Oh, mine looks ridiculous. Angie, don't. So it's a interesting kind of thing. It doesn't have a lot, but you could come back and I suppose you could come back and then add more to it with your hand. Where else they crawled and the crawly and creases. It felt weird not to look. Yeah, it does feel really weird not to look and not to peek. And I think pushing ourselves to not peek at it is that trick to getting another part of our brain open up. You did this in art class? Okay, yes. Yeah, I find some good books. These are books that I've had. I used at school. I've had these for so long. And all the different kind of things it takes them to do. And there's it's a good one. Illustrating nature. It's one of those things I kind of like to try to do out here. Okay, good. So yours looks like a piece of ginger, so that's a good starting place for something that you could add to it and draw. Maybe you could make a ginger forest. What does a ginger forest look like? Ginger doesn't grow in a forest, does it? But you could make up a ginger forest. Yeah. You have ants this week. I know ours will be coming out, and as soon as it gets warm in spring, they come out of nowhere. I mean, and seriously, I'll come down here and coming in, and I just, I did not grow up with bugs. I grew up on an orchard. My dad grew apples. And when you use pesticides, as they did when I was growing up, you don't get ants and, occasionally we would get flies once in a while, but you just don't get bugs. All right. I mean, they just don't come around because the only bugs you really have are bees, and those you want to keep around. And so I don't like having bugs around. I'm just not used to it. That. Nope, not my deal. Not my deal. So you guys, that was Story and Art tonight. 2 bad ants and a ants crawling around your hand drawing activity. So that's kind of fun to do. Just a fun, I know, we're going to try some other ones too. It will be a lot of fun. So, so I started with Mean Old Mean Hyena the other night and went on to Jumanji, where March of the Ants. I love it. And if I ran into my sketch at night, I'd scream. Helen, that's great. Yeah. Okay. See? Make a scary picture. How fun is that? You could do these. I mean, just do one after another, and hands in different positions. I think that would be kind of fun to do your hands in different positions and try it and see, and then put them together and make up a story about them. Oh, yeah. March of the Ants. And here we come with Angie's March of the Ants. Oh, that's just funny. So, like I said, I started with Mean Old Mean Hyena with kind of the little and stories that don't have the quite sweet aspect that some of them do. And then we did Jumanji, where the animals are kind of like, okay, and out to get the kids. Then there's 2 bad ants. These guys are just the rebels. I have Underwear, which is about it's some animals that go to the Great Underwear Fair, and they have a very grumpy animal that comes with them. And then we also have 10 Sly Piranhas, which is so much fun. And it's all done in song verse. I know that one well enough that I have it sung. I would sing it with students, and they had hand motions to go with it. So you guys are probably going to have to interact and join me with that one. So, but for now, see what you can do with this. Try it again. Maybe, put more little ants in different spots. Figure out what your hand is, and look around and start at the head and put your hand in a different position and just focus and see what it gets. See what kind of shapes you can get. And then from that shape, what can you make? What can you make with that? Like, Gloria's got a ginger forest going on. And some watermelon. You guys are hilarious. I love this. I love it. Oh my gosh. All right. So that was fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. I did. We have our ants, and we had, this was after the day, literally, an hour ago, I was beat. Because I had tried several times to get downloaded, plug things in, and because I don't like wires showing. And so I was trying to manage wires, and I've got an 8-port USB port to things in, and I've got another 4-port over there, and then I've got 4 more ports. So I've got 16 USB things plugged in all over with my cameras and everything. And and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just like, and I took a look at myself in the mirror and went, oh, sad. I'm going to scare some people. So I went and put some lipstick and blush on and felt much better. Had my Baileys and dinner and came down to read a story to you guys. And it brings me such joy. It really does. And to do a little bit of drawing and something a little fun and to, you know, just something different. And maybe it'll click with you in one way or another. And maybe it'll help. It helps me to think about it. I'm like, oh, I could do this. And I think I could do this with Lachlan this week. My 3-year-old grandson will probably have to be with us 1 or 2 days this week because his daycare is closed due to not enough staffing, and they've had a COVID outbreak there again. And then Layla, his sister, is okay to go back to school, which is good, but my son-in-law is traveling this week. He's the admissions director for the veterinary schools for Ross Medical Schools in St. Kitts, and so he has to go to colleges and talk to kids and stuff like that. So he's traveling this week, and my daughter is back in the hospitals again because she works for Boston Scientific. She goes in and certifies the surgeons for that use certain cardiac tools and things like that, and in surgery. So she has to certify the surgeons, and so she has to go into surgery with them. So it's a busy week, and she's just said, are you guys available Tuesday or Wednesday if Lachlan, I need help? And we said, yeah, because who knows, if she might not be able to go in, but she might. So I think this would be a fun thing to do with Lachlan. And the other thing, who was it today did the chaos? Was that you, Donna, that did the chaos? You called it the chaos Dutch pour? Okay. I loved it. I loved the name. I think that's cool. That is right up Lachlan's alley. He's 3. He's chaos personified. So I think he would like that. Oh, I know. I always have fun with my grandkids. Yeah, they're a hoot. They're an absolute, I don't know if, oh gosh. Bryn's middle child was making hot chocolate the other day. Bryn posted it on her Instagram, and Rook is 3. Lachlan is almost 4. Did he turn 4? No, he's not 4 yet. But Rookie had chocolate because they used the Hershey's standard, make it from scratch. So she had chocolate all over her face, and she was stirring it at the stove. She was so proud, and Bryn was going, and then Bryn proceeded to show the trail throughout her house of the 3 children, all of which almost 10-month-old is almost walking, but is completely mobile behind her little push cart. So it was pretty funny. And Bryn was just laughing. I loved it. It was great. So I'm going to stop babbling. And, okay, whose skin is crawling? Helen, you're funny. Yeah, you guys had some big bugs in Hawaii. There's some big freaking critters back. Oh my gosh. One of the times when I was in North Carolina, and it was, the cicadas had hatched that year or whatever. And seriously, I was walking toward my friend Samantha's apartment I was in Greensboro, and I'm walking to her apartment, and this freaking giant bug falls out of the tree in front of me, and I just like, wow, they was so big. Oh, yeah. All right, ladies. So until next time, You guys have a great evening. Have a restful evening, and enjoy your time. And thank you for sharing your time and spending your time with me. And until the next time, though, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's everywhere. It's all around. But the first place, it's in your mirror. All right, I'll tell you soon.